Thank you for joining this lesson. We're going to discuss mathematics paper 2. The topic is income tax. One thing I'm sure is that most of you are already familiar with this topic. So what I will be doing is to highlight a few things as we go through several examples. Several examples so that even those who are already aware can get more conversant with the concept. We're going to do questions which are very direct, and I'm also going to engage what we call a reverse taxation. So we're going to see all types of settings in this particular topic. So I'm going to bring to you a few questions here. Like this question. Through these questions, we also going to be highlighting some of the formula or some of the ways in which a few terms can be calculated. For example, we know that a taxable income is usually given by basic salary plus, some people will say all allowances, but I dispute that and I say taxable allowances. Taxable allowances. Taxable allowances because in some situations, a certain employee can be given allowances which are not exposed to taxation, which are not subjected to tax. In such a case, the taxable income will be basic salary plus the allowances on which tax is done or tax is made. So sometimes an employee or a certain worker of the government can enjoy non-taxable allowances. So let us give room for such situations. The table below shows income tax rates for a particular year. So taxable income in Kenya shillings per month. We're also having a percentage tax rates per Kenya shillings, percentage. So these are percentages in other words. Mr. Joroge earns a basic salary of 43,000, a house allowance of 12,000, a commuter allowance 4,500 Kenya shillings. Every month, he pays a premium of 5,000 towards a life assurance policy for which he receives tax relief of 15% of the premiums paid. He also receives a personal relief of 2,400 Kenya shillings every month. Okay. Calculate part 1, the amount of taxable income in Kenya shillings per month, and this is for Mr. Joroge. So taxable income, as we have said, is given by basic salary 43,500 plus allowances which are taxable. I can see house allowance. You should know that all allowances stated in a given instruction are taxable unless communicated. And we are going to see such questions whereby you'll be told maybe a hardship allowance or a non-taxable hardship allowance and such things. Then we have a 4500. Yeah, these are the only available sources of income. 43,500, 12,000, 4500. This is 60,000. So for Mr. Joroge, there is a taxable income of 60,000 Kenya shillings. The next question is the amount of net tax paid by Mr. Joroge every month. The amount of tax or net tax, the net tax paid by Mr. Joroge every month. So when we are taxing 60,000, we are going to do this in all the brackets because its taxable income is beyond 50,000. So in the first bracket, the first 15,000, let's look at the first 15,000 at a rate of 0%. At a rate of 0%, there is no tax due to its first because the rate here is 0 and people must be very careful. So the first 15,000, according to this taxation system, is not taxed. So people earning below 15,000 will not be, or 15,000 and below will not be exposed to tax. Okay, 27,000 minus, for me to get what lies in the second bracket now, I have to subtract 27,000 minus 15,000. This gives us 12,000. So the next bracket, or the second bracket, having 12,000, this one now is being taxed at 10%. So at 10%, we shall have it as 1,200. Yeah. Then in the third bracket, what shall we have? In the third bracket, we will need to take 37 minus 27,000. That will give us exactly 10,000. So in the third bracket, 10,000. This one is being taxed at the rate of 15, and it will give us 1,500. That gives us 1,500. In the third bracket, it will be 45,000 minus 37,000, and this gives us 8,000 at the rate of 20. 8,000, this is in the fourth bracket. 8,000 at the rate of 20. So at the rate of 20, we'll get 1,600. Yeah, 1,600. What about in the fifth bracket? In the fifth bracket, we subtract their 50,000 and 45,000. We'll get 5,000 at the rate of 25. So in the fifth bracket, we'll have 5,000 at the rate of 25%. So 5,000 at the rate of 25%. This is going to be 1,250. I hope that one is well computed. 5,000 at 25 over 100. Yeah, 1,250. Those are the taxes up to the fifth bracket. Up to the fifth bracket. What about in the last bracket? In the sixth bracket now, remember we have taxed up to 50,000, but the taxable income is going up to 60,000. Therefore, what amount remains untaxed? 60,000 minus 50,000. This is 10,000. So there lies 10,000 for Mr. Joroge in the last bracket. So in the last, let me underline this. So in the last bracket, in the last or in the least, in the sixth, that is 10,000 at the rate of the last bracket, 30%. Yeah. So by 30%, is 3,000. Yeah. So we can get the total tax, or rather, the gross tax. Let's get the gross tax. The gross tax. Trying to stabilize my screen. So let's talk about the gross tax. This will be when we add all of them. We take 3,000. Okay, we can begin with 1,200 plus 1,500 plus 1,600 plus 1,250 plus 3,000. This is giving us 8,550. 8,550. That is the gross tax. But now we need the net tax. So from this gross tax, for us to get net tax, for us to get the net tax, for us to get the net tax, what we need is gross tax minus relief. Now, this person enjoys relief twice. So it will be 8,550 minus personal relief 2,400 and also relief from premiums. Personal relief 2,400 and a tax relief of 15% of the premiums paid. What is the premiums paid? 5,000. Premiums paid 5,000. So 15% of 5,000. 15%. So let me work out the 15% of 5,000. This is equivalent to 750. We add 2,400. We get that 150. So 8,550 minus 3,150, and this will be 5,400. So the net tax paid by this gentleman is 5,400. 5,400. As we continue learning, remember to subscribe. Remember also to share so that you may invite a friend. Let me also share to invite a friend. Let me invite people. Remember that you can also find physics lessons and chemistry lessons through this platform. More chemistry lessons can also be found from Ambassador Speaks. When you follow up with that channel, you will access a lot of chemistry tutorials, and I'm sure you're going to benefit. For now, let's continue with taxation mathematics paper 2. Let's continue with taxation mathematics paper 2. Part B of this question, which is a very interesting question. Yeah, this is what I am saying. I hope you guys are getting it. People are coming in. You can also comment. Let's know where you are watching us from. Yeah, let's know whether you are getting something as we continue learning. Kindly give us a comment. We'd like to know how the progress is. Let's know whether you are getting us clear. Let's know about the sound. Give us a comment. All right, in part B, if the tax rate in the first band increased to 5%, while the remaining rates for the subsequent bands remains unchanged, calculate the amount of tax that Mr. Joroge would pay. So the only change that will come is that in the first band, it will not be 0%. Now it goes to 5%. Maybe a new president got into power, and now the people earning 15,000 and below also began paying taxes. So let's see. So 5% of the first 15,000. What do we get here? 15,000 by 5%. This is 750. So there was a tax of 750. And that means now the new pay as you earn for Mr. Joroge, instead of 5400, now became, we add 6150. 6150. I'm working on the screen. Okay. Yeah, 6150. 6150. Calculate the amount of tax that Mr. Joroge would pay. So that is the new amount of tax. Thank you. We can check at another question now. Still on taxation. Let me get to this paper. Our consultation line remains 0704 15 33 66. Remember also, you can access airtime. From your M-Pesa by using the pay bill number 73 56. Then the account number is the phone number that you'd like to purchase airtime for. In this paper, the income tax rates of the year 2023 was shown. So I can see the tax rates there. In a certain month of the year, Madam Awuor monthly earnings were as follows: base salary 54,000, house allowance 22,500, commuter allowance 7,500, medical allowance 4,000. Madam Awuor has a life insurance policy for which she pays 6,000 Kenya shillings per month, and for which she is allowed 15% as insurance relief. She is also entitled to a personal tax relief of 1,240 Kenya shillings per month. Calculate part 1, taxable income per month. Taxable income per month, as we communicated earlier, this will be given by basic salary plus all allowances. A basic salary of 54,000 plus allowances 22,500. It's 500 plus 7,500 plus 4,000 plus 4,000. Yeah, we can now add up this and we see the taxable income for Madam Awuor. 54,000, 22,500, 7,500, 4,000. This is going to give us 88,000 Kenya shillings. So that is a taxable income. The taxable income has been computed now. Our net tax per month. Let's get first of all the gross tax. You see now, according to what we have here, the fact is that we are going to tax up to the last bracket. We shall tax up to the last bracket. So the first, in the first case, we're going to tax amounts between 24,000 and 34,500. So we can take the difference, 34,500 minus 24,000. Remember, this is not from zero. It's not zero all the way to 34,500. it is from 24,000, which means maybe from 0 to 24,000, there is no taxation. So in the first taxable income there, the taxable income is going to be 10,500. So in the 1,500 at a rate of 10%, and this shall give us 1050. So from the first bracket, we are getting a tax of 1050. What about in the next? We have now to subtract. The next we pick 38,800. We subtract 34,500. This shall be 4300. Yeah, 4300. Hoping that I have computed it very well. At a rate of 15%. This shall be 645. A tax of 645. Yeah, a tax of 640. In the next bracket, we are also going to subtract 48,500 minus 38,100. This will be 9700. 9700 at a rate of 20. 9700 at a rate of 20%. So by 20%, this is going to be 1940. Yeah, 1940. We proceed with taxation in the fourth bracket. Now I will also subtract 68,000 minus 48,500. This shall be 19,500. 19,500. 19,500 at the rate of 25%. So the rate that the tax there shall be 48,75. And finally, now that we have taxed up to this point, what will be the remaining amount which lies above 68,000? The taxable income is 88,000. So we have to subtract the far that we have taxed, 68,000. And this will give us exactly 20,000. So it is 20,000 that will be taxed at a rate of 30% to give us 6,000 in the last bracket. So we can talk about gross tax now. For Madam Awuor, the gross tax paid shall be 1050. We add 45. We add 1940. We add 48,75. And we add 6,000. This shall give us 14,510. 14,510. 14,510. Now, our vision was not to get the gross tax. We needed the net tax, or rather the payee. And how do we get the payee? When we take, for us to get the payee, or rather the net tax, we need to take the gross tax and we subtract the reliefs. We have two reliefs for Madam Awuor. We have a monthly tax relief, personal, which is 1240. Then we also have another relief, which is 15% insurance relief from the 15% of the premiums paid. 15% of the premiums paid. She pays 6,000 per month in an insurance policy. So 6,000, now we compute 15% of this. and it will be 900. So there is another relief of 900. When we take 900 and we add 1240, we're getting 2140. So it will be 14,510 minus 2140. This will give us 12,370. 12,370. So this will be the net tax paid by Madam Awuor. Yeah, by Madam Awuor. Thank you for following. Thank you for the following. Remember to subscribe. Remember to subscribe. Remember to share with friends. Thank you so much, Fred Okoko. I understand that you're getting us very clear, and that is great. That is really great. All right, part C of this question. Now, we are further told that apart from income tax and insurance premium, the following monthly deductions were made. Apart from, so they are already, the examiner is already giving us an highlight that there are already deductions which have been mentioned earlier. Then now we are being given other deductions. NHIF 250, service charge 150, loan repayment 6,000, cooperative shares 2,600. Calculate Madam Awuor's monthly net income from her employment. How do we get net income? This one is given by gross salary or gross income minus all deductions. The reason why I'm using the word gross income, the reason as to why I'm using gross income and not taxable income is because sometimes an individual might be earning maybe a certain allowance which is not exposed to taxation. So that particular allowance is not part of taxable income, but it is part of the gross income. So we need it to know net income. So we need the gross income for this particular lady, Madam Awuor, 88,000 minus all deductions. The first deduction is income tax, which is 12,370. 12,370. Then 6,000 for premiums. 6,000 for premiums. Add 6,000 for premiums. Then now we read these other deductions now. 250, 150, 6,000, 2600. Yeah, then we compute now. Then we compute our net tax. 12,370, 6,000, 250, 150, 6,000, 2600. This is 27,370. So when we take 88,000 and we subtract this, we'll be getting 60,000. 60,000 630 Kenya shillings. 630 Kenya shillings. The screen is misbehaving, but I'm going to sort it out. Yeah, 60,630 Kenya shillings. So that is it. Now we can look at a few questions which involve back taxation, such that a question is even able to provide us with the tax paid. And once they have given us the tax paid, now they task us with calculating the individual's income, for instance. Let's look at a question like this. Yeah, let's look at this question. Let's look at this. The table below shows rates for income earned. So we can see the taxation, the income tax in a table there with the corresponding tax rates. That one is very clear. Now the question comes, in that year, Mr. Hamisi paid a net tax. See now, paid a net tax. So net tax is given for Mr. Hamisi per month. He gets a house allowance 10,000, medical allowance 2400 Kenya shillings, and acting allowance of 2820 Kenya shillings per month. He was entitled to a monthly personal relief of 162 Kenya shillings. 162 Kenya shillings. Then we also told that he has insurance policy for which he pays a monthly premium of 1,500 Kenya shillings and claims a relief of a rate of 10% of the premium paid per month. The following deductions are also made every month. NHIF 320, cooperative society shares 6,000, union dues are 200 Kenya shillings. Part 1, calculate Mr. and Mrs. monthly basic salary in Kenya shillings. So for us to get the monthly basic salary, we first of all supposed to get the gross tax. So gross tax is going to be, when we take the net tax of 5512, then we add the reliefs. The first relief is 162, that is the personal relief. The other relief is 10% of the premiums paid by Mr. Amisi. So we can compute the gross tax for Mr. Amisi. 5512 plus 162 plus 150. And this shall be 5824. When we talk about gross tax, we mean the total tax that Mr. Amisi would have paid if it were not for the reliefs. And that is why we are picking the net tax and we add to it the reliefs. At this point, you must understand that we are doing now the back taxation, whereby if it was in the normal occasion, then we usually say that we take gross tax and we subtract reliefs for us to get net tax. But now that it is the net tax given, we have to add back the reliefs for us to get the gross tax. So the gross tax payable by Mr. and Mrs. 5,824. Now we're going to tax a known amount. We're going to tax a known amount until we arrive 240. So the first taxable income is 9680. 968. Now 968 is far much away from, so we should go to the next bracket and we continue taxing. Now we have to subtract here. And we subtract 9680. This gives us 9120 at a rate of 15. 9120 at a rate of 15. So this is giving us 1368. What about when we add the two? We are still not at the tax given there. So we proceed in the third bracket. In the third bracket, we subtract 27,920 minus 18,800. This will be 9120 at 20%. 9120 at 20%. At 20%. I'm getting 1824. We can keep checking whether we are anywhere near 5824. So when I take 968, I add 1368, I add 1824, I'm having 4160. I'm having 4160. Which means we still need to continue taxing. We still need to continue taxing. Continue taxing, continue taxing. All right. Right. We continue taxing. What about in the other bracket? In the other bracket, now we are picking 37,040, and we shall subtract 27,920. This is giving us 9120. 9120 at the rate of 25%. And this shall be 2280. Now, what about when we add this to 4160? This one is going beyond. Now, the total tax is now going beyond 5824. It's going beyond 5824. And this is to mean that at the rate of 25, we will not tax everything in that bracket. It means that there is now a missing amount which lies here, such that we should get a total tax of 5824. So we need to take 5824 and we subtract 4160, so that we may know we are now missing only 1664. Yeah, so we are missing 1664, so that the summation of all the taxes becomes 5824. Now, if we have known what we are lacking, then we're supposed to say that there is a certain amount which is unknown, X, but being multiplied at the rate of 25% to give us 1664. So what is this particular X? What is the particular X? A certain amount being taxed at the rate of 25% to give us 1664, such that when we add up all the taxes, we shall get 5824. So X shall be 6656. 6656. So the amount that lies in the fourth bracket is 6656. That is what we taxed at 25% to give us 1664, such that adding up all the taxes, will give us 5824. And therefore, we will say up to this point, up to 27,920, we just need to add 6656. So we can get the taxable income now by taking up to that bracket 27,920. We are adding the amount in the final bracket of this particular individual. And this will be 34,576 Kenya shillings. So that is the all right. This is the taxable income. Sorry. Yeah, we are still continuing. This is the taxable income now. This is the taxable income. I think people should know what we have gotten. What we were determining is the taxable income. Taxable income for Mr. Amisi. Now that we got the taxable income, what next? Now that we got the taxable income, what next? We need to know that. How do we get taxable income? Taxable income is given by basic salary plus allowances, taxable allowances. So 34,576 is given by a basic salary which is not known plus allowances. So we can go to the allowances now. 10,000, 2400, 10,000, 2400. Let's check more. House allowance 10,000, medical 2400, acting allowance 2820. Yeah, 2820. So we can get the basic salary now. We can get the basic salary when I subtract 10,000, 2400, 2820, and this shall be 19,356. Calculate is net monthly salary in part B now. Calculate is net monthly salary. How do we get net monthly salary? How do we get net monthly salary? For us to get the net monthly salary, what we need is the taxable income minus all deductions. So can we talk of a taxable income of 34,576? Then all deductions. The first deduction is the payee, 5512. 5512. This person, Mr. Amisi, also pays a premium, premiums to a given company, insurance company, 1500. That is also a deduction. Let's check whether there are other deductions. Yeah, the following deductions are also made. 320, 6,200. 320, 6,200. So we can compute this now. 34,576 minus 5512 plus 1500 plus 320 plus 6,000 plus 200. And this is 21,044 Kenya shillings. So this is the net income or the net salary. The net salary for Mr. Amisi. The net salary for Mr. Amisi. So that is how we go about such a question, which is talking about back taxation. Back taxation. Okay. Yeah, questions are many. We have a plenty of questions here. Plenty of them. Plenty of them. We can look at number 20 in grandstand. Number 20 in grandstand. Yeah, the question is here. Wow. The table below shows the income tax rates for a certain year. Income tax rates for a certain year. Taxable pay per month is given there. The tax rates in percentages are also given there. Thank you for following. Good evening, Malimu. May Almighty God bless this channel. Thank you so much, Kennedy Odhiambo, for always being around to support this program. Amen to your wishes and prayers. Thank you so much, Ambassador Foundation. That is what we were talking about. I told you that from Ambassador Foundation, you will find a lot of chemistry tutorials because we are also partnering with him to ensure that through shifting grades, he has also given us some chemistry tutorials. But most importantly, understand that there is a chemistry and physics tutorials through Ambassador Speaks. So kindly follow up with that platform. Ensure that you pick the best from him. There are also motivational talks. You can reap a lot from the platform. Subscribe to his channel and invite more friends. Now let's look at Marylinet. That year, Marylinet paid a net tax of 4,312 Kenya shillings per month. Our total monthly taxable allowances. Taxable, mark the word taxable allowances. Taxable allowances amounted to 15,220 Kenya shillings, and he was entitled to a monthly relief of 1,062 Kenya shillings. Every month, the following deductions were made. Every month, the following deductions were made. NHIF 320, union dues 2,000 Kenya shillings, cooperative shares 500. Yeah, calculate part A, Marylinet's basic salary in Kenya shillings. Almost the same as what we've done, but a new question. Let us look at how we should approach this one. Remember that we are only given the net tax. And that means from the net tax, we can also get gross tax for Marylinet. Gross tax for Marylinet. So the gross tax is going to be when we take the payee and we add the relief. We add the relief. So that means we're supposed to take 4312 and we add a tax relief of 1062. What do we get here? 4312. I add 1062. This is giving me 5374. 5374. So this is the gross tax that Madam Marylinet would have paid if it were not for the relief. And that is why we are picking the net tax and we add back the relief so that we may know the total taxable pay for Madam Marylinet. Now we're going to tax unknown amounts. We're going to tax unknown amounts until we get a tax of 5374. Let's go. 5374. So we begin in the first bracket, 9680. So the first 9680 at 10%, and this shall give us 968. So from the first bracket, there is a tax of 908. Yeah, 968. Then from the second bracket, we have to pick 18,800. Then we subtract 9680. This is 9120. We get 9120 from this bracket now. 9110 at 15. 9120 at the rate of 15. This shall give us 1368. Now, when I look at the first tax and the second tax, they cannot add up to, they are yet to give us 5374. So we proceed with our taxation and we have to take 27,920. We subtract 18,800 to give us 9120 at the rate of 20%. So at the rate of 20%, I'm getting 1824. 1824. When I add up all the taxes, still I'm not at 5374. So we can keep taxing. Let's keep taxing. In the next bracket, I should pick 37,040, subtract 27,920. This gives us again 9120. Yeah, 9120 at 25%. At 25%. And this will be 2280. At 2280. Now let's see the total tax now. When I add 968, and 1368 together with the 1824, all this tax is going beyond what we have. And now that it has gone beyond what we are having, then it means in this bracket, we shall not tax everything there. We just need some little tax in this bracket such that the total bracket becomes 5374. So we pick 5374 and we subtract the so far taxes. So that we may know that we only need 1214 here. We only needed 1215, so that the addition becomes 5374. We needed 1214, so that the total tax becomes 5374. That means there is a certain percentage, there is a certain amount unknown, X, at the rate of 25%, so that we may get the tax of 1214. So that we may get the tax of 1214. So we can compute their known x. X times 25 over 100 should give us 1214. So what is x? And x is going to be 4856. 4856. So the only tax or the only taxable income in this bracket is 4856, which means after 27,920, we are only remaining with 4856 untaxed. 27,920, 27,920, we should add 4856 so that we may get the taxable income. And this will be 32,776. This is the taxable income for Madam Marylinet. Marylinet. Now with taxable income, now we can get basic salary. We know that taxable income is usually given by basic salary plus taxable allowances. Not just allowances. Sometimes there are allowances which are not subjected to taxation. Unknown plus taxable incomes. Taxable allowances amounted to 15 to 20. 15 to 20. 15 to 20. So how do we remain with x? We subtract them. This will give us 17,556. 6. So that is the basic salary for Madam Marylinet. Yeah, for Madam Marylinet. Okay. At that point now we can finish up by getting a monthly net salary for Madam Marylinet. Net salary, how do we get it? This shall be a fig minus all deductions. So we need gross income or other taxable income for this particular case, that 76. We subtract all deductions. All deductions. First deduction is plus other deductions from Marylinet's salary. Every month the following 500, 320, 2,500, 320, 2,500. I believe I've lifted them well. 320, 2,000 deductions. Those are the other deductions. So now we need to take 1,776. Then we subtract all these deductions, 4312, 320, 2,500. This is give 25,644 Kenya shillings. So that is a. There are many questions. You can expose yourself to some settings so that people can even take a screenshot to attempt them later. Kindly take a screenshot of this good question that I'm displaying on the board. Please take a screenshot of this. My network is very stable and I'm sure everything is clear in this paper. So just a screenshot. Ensure that later during your free time, you work out these problems. That is Roman 2. This is part B. So please work out that question later during your own time. Check also a question. Our consultation line is already here. You can also screenshot it. The table is here. Here is part B and C. Part B and C of that question. Also, can check extra questions here, like this number 23, a very good question. Yeah, you can pause the video. You just screenshot the question. You work on it later. Yeah, you work on it later. There are several. There's also this. Part B, part C of that question. Yeah, this one we have seen. So that is it. Thank you for turning up. See you tomorrow for physics.